All right, Delta is going to start accepting flight attendant applications soon this September. That's why I'm wearing my purple today because we're going to be talking about Delta. So, first of all, they're going to accept applications on September 7th. So, straight away, I wanted to get that out. But I also want to introduce myself. I'm Abby Unger, the owner of Flight Attendant Career Connection, and I help aspiring flight attendants land their dream job faster and with less frustration. And today, in this video, I am going to be going over the information that you need for the new hiring requisition number that's going to open on Thursday, September 7th. And I'm going to give you some information that the Delta hiring team asked me to communicate out to my community. And so, specifically, information from them. It's not secret or proprietary or anything, but I always think that it's special when a recruiter puts something out, whether it's on LinkedIn or sends me an email and asks me to communicate. It's just something that we kind of want to pay attention to, right? Also, I want to tell you about some new resources that Delta is providing new opportunities to connect with them, prepare for their interviews, learn more about the position of a flight attendant at Delta Airlines. And then I'm also going to talk about the hiring process that we're seeing now and that we'll continue to see in 2024, what to expect, tips from me, also tips from Delta that will help you be as successful as you can be. Do your best, put your best foot forward in the interview process. And then we're also going to be talking about what you should wear. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about requirements and things like this. So this is all Delta Airlines flight attendant information from now, it's almost September 2023. And then this should be the information that we use moving on into 2024, because this new requisition number, this new application that's opening up is really in preparation for the 2024 hiring season for Delta. It's not really a season, but the hiring process for 2024. So first of all, like I've said, the application will open on the 7th of September. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, the application hopefully you're watching it beforehand and you're getting ready. This is the first time Delta has actually told us when they're going to be accepting applications what is this, like a week and a half before they actually accept the applications, almost 2 weeks before, because I started seeing it on LinkedIn last week and got the email actually Friday, and today is Monday. So this is really exciting. They are letting us know that they are going to be accepting applications so you can get your resume ready, so that you can get your ducks in a row, so that you can start to get the things that you need together. Even they're telling us what the requirements are as far as passports and things like that, so that you can get ready. And like I said, this is the first time they've done that. So that's pretty exciting. Now, unlike Southwest also tells us, but they only open their application for a few hours. I expect Delta will be open for a while. They said that it will be open until they reach the number of candidates that they need in their sort of like hiring bucket, right, to interview. But that usually is a week or two that it takes for them to hit that threshold. So we're not looking at like a 4-hour take off work, close everything down, shut down your life on the 7th. We don't even know exactly what time. Delta headquarters is in the East Coast time zone of the United States. So I expect it would be earlier rather than later. That's, something that I expect if it's, first thing in the morning, or even if it's around lunchtime, whatever that is going to be earlier than it's going to be on the earlier side than, Pacific time or Hawaii time zone I'm in. So we can expect earlier rather than later, but we don't have like a specific time for the 7th. All right. Now, here's some things that you need to know. First question, if you have been applying to Delta, if you've been in the game for a bit, you may be wondering when you can reapply. So when you can reapply is 3 months, not 90 days, 3 months from your last communication. So from your thanks but no thanks, 3 months from your thanks but no thanks, and a new requisition number. So we expect that this will have a new requisition number. I don't remember that I've seen that specifically said anywhere, but this is going to be a new requisition number. So you can go back in your email and search and see when you got your thanks but no thanks. So the last communication you received, your thanks but no thanks from the company, and 3 months after that. So if it was, what would that be? September. So if we did June, July, August, that would be right. June, July, August, September. So June 7th. So before June 7th, I think. If I did the math wrong, just fix it in the comments for me. I wasn't planning to do math in this one. So I think it's going to be around early June. If you got your TB&T, then you can reapply again. Again, I also think that the application will be up for a few weeks. I don't know for sure, but that's what we've seen in the past. Okay. So still be ready if you're close. Don't reapply before you can, though. Okay. Don't reapply before that you can. Another thing that they make really clear in their information on their website is don't create more than one profile. So don't try to trick them and go around and do a new email or something like that either. All right. People get caught when they do that. I don't really know exactly how. Maybe it's like, I don't know. We don't have time to speculate, but just they get caught and they'll get kicked out and things like that. Like the application will get kicked out. You don't get like kicked out of the world or anything. Okay. So first thing is 3 months. Next is your passport. Do you need a passport? This is what it currently says right now. I'll put the information too. They have a brand new they have a new web page with information. It's got videos. It's got cool videos, like really inspiring videos on there. You get to meet a couple flight attendants, listen to what they say, take notes, write down what they say that you find to be exciting, maybe remember their name. It would be awesome in an interview to say something like, well, I remember when I watched Molly's video on the Delta website, how inspired I was by this or that. A lot of someone's worked really, really, really hard to source all of that and put it together in such a easy to consume, easy to access way for us to learn. And there's really no reason why we shouldn't be taking full advantage of it to not just learn about the job, but also to prepare for the interview. Whatever they put in those videos, whatever they put on that page is a clue to us as to what the company thinks is important. Okay. So, that was a little bit of a tangent because we were talking about passports. So on the page, it said that you need 30 months left in your passport when you report to training. Okay, so I don't know because the job listing's not up yet. I don't know if that means you're required to have a passport when you apply and then you have to have 30 months. But what I'm thinking it means is when you start training, you need to have your passport with at least 30 months. So you maybe don't need your passport at the time of application. So if you go look at your passport and you have less than, let's say, 4 years, probably 3 or 4 years left, because 3 years would be 36 months, but this process might take some time. So if you don't have over 3 years left, I would go ahead and start the process to get your passport renewed, because then you will have it back in time for you to take advantage of the first training class that you were offered to you. If you wait until you're later in the process to start getting it taken care of, then you may not be ready to go to training in the first class that they offer you if you're waiting, because right now it's taking, from what I hear, a substantial amount of time, much more than the average 6 to 8 weeks to get your passport back. So go ahead and start working on getting your passport renewed. If you need to save up money, again, start now, start saving up the money so that you can get that taken care of, because you do need 30 months of it before it expires. So it has to be 30 months before it expires, almost 3 years before it expires when you start training. That's kind of a new way. That's a kind of a newer regulation or requirement. Okay. And then the other thing is it says that you need to be 21 years old to apply to be a Delta flight attendant. Now, in the past, in the last, I don't know, 3-4 years that I can remember, in the application, in the qualifications, it has said you must turn 21 by, and then it's had like a date that was maybe 3 or 4 months out from the application date. So, they update it every time. So they have in the past recently been accepting applications from 20-year-olds that are just about to turn 21. So if that's you, if you're turning 21 in the next 3 to 4 months, I would still be ready. And then you can check the job description and the job requirements once it goes live on the 7th. And hopefully they'll still be doing the same thing. Okay. Where it says you must be 21 by this date. And it's like 3 or 4 months in the future. But right now the website is saying you have to be 21 to be a Delta flight attendant, which makes sense. Yes, even if you are 20 when you're applying, you're still going to need to be 21 probably to go to training. And that's why they're giving a little bit of wiggle room so you can turn 21 maybe during the process, So that's my thoughts on that. Now, here's something else that they're doing. It's kind of new. So they sort of did this last year, and it's information sessions. So it's live in-person information sessions. They did this last year, I remember, but it was really seemed to be more focused on college campuses. So they were going to cities that had colleges or going to college campuses and holding information sessions, trying to recruit people, which always makes me think of that scene from Catch Me If You Can, when he goes in and he's pretending to be the Pan Am pilot and he like recruits all those college girls to be like his fake flight attendants or stewardesses, but they don't know. I just always think of that, but I'm sure it's nothing like that. But the information sessions now they're not college focused this time. So they're at hotels and they're at several cities. They start in September. I'll put the link below to the website where you can go and get all of the dates and all of the times and RSVP register. Okay. If you want to go. So none of them are virtual. They're all in person. It does say on there, if you can't attend, to go ahead and join the talent community so that you can still get emails and things like that. But if you can attend, I'm sure that this would be such a really great experience. So first of all, they're having them in MCO in Orlando, Providence, Rhode Island, Austin, Texas, MSP, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minneapolis, Las Vegas. Okay. So that's where they're having them. It looks like they're having 2 days so the session is an hour and a half long, and they're having them in each city. They have 2 days of sessions, and it looked like there were like 2 to 3 sessions on each day. So depending. And, these are not mandatory. Okay. These are not mandatory, but if you could go to one of these, I think it would be really valuable for a couple reasons. One, the Delta face-to-face, the mix and mingle, which is like your opportunity to mix and mingle and meet fellow candidates as well as flight attendants who are there in uniform, is such a heavy, important part of the interview. Your ability to mix and mingle, connect with strangers, and operate in kind of this group setting where you're not necessarily on display like at the front of a classroom, but you're on display as you move around and you interact with different people. I think that going to an information session and observing the way that those flight attendants interact and interacting with them will, one, hopefully help your nerves when you end up at the face-to-face and you're in the mix and mingle. It might even give you the opportunity to have a familiar face at the mix and mingle if you were to have someone from your information session maybe in your mix and mingle. And it's just a good opportunity to kind of put yourself out there, get yourself in interview mode, get yourself in a place where you're kind of nervous, which is great practice because you're going to be nervous at the interview, right? So if you go in there kind of nervous and are still able to perform, then it really helps with your cortisol production when you're in the face-to-face because you've already done this before, right? So that's one of the ways that we get less afraid and less scared of things, is by constantly being exposed to it or being exposed to it as much as possible, which is why I always encourage people, aspiring flight attendants, to apply to all the airlines you're interested in so that you can be doing lots of different interviews, because the first couple interviews you do probably aren't going to be your best interview. So the more that you're practicing and exploring your options, the better candidate you're going to be and the better you're going to be at interviewing. Plus, the more you're going to know where you really want to end up because you're interacting with people. So if you can go to one of the information sessions, I think it would be really cool. Now, how should you dress? So these information sessions were made public last week, and they were posted in my Facebook group. And then they started a little bit of a discussion because some people were saying this isn't real. Delta doesn't do this. They haven't done it since the 80s. Well, I don't know when they did it before, but this is not an open interview session. This is an information session. And yes, Delta is doing it. So I don't know if there was like a lot, like they were really like for sure that Delta wasn't doing it, but they're doing it. And if they're doing these, then they think that they'll be valuable because these have got to cost a lot of money. So if you can take advantage of them, please take advantage of them. Okay, these information sessions. They are validating parking, which I just thought was, anytime I see something like that, it is a clue to how they are as a company. It is a clue to how they are as a company culture. Okay. So they are validating parking because these are at hotels. So you can park at the hotel, usually cost in big cities to park at hotels, right? And so they're going to validate your parking. I just think that's such a little clue to who they are as a company culture. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out too, because I was impressed. Dress nicely, please. Do you have to wear your absolute best interview outfit? Probably not. Like if I was going, I would be wearing a nice business dress that had sleeves, and I would be wearing pantyhose, and I would be wearing heels. But I wouldn't necessarily be wearing my interview suit. I would have my makeup on and I would have my hair pulled back or done. But I wouldn't, but I would be dressed in a business professional way. So some of the things that they say over and over again, because there's in several places, there's information about what to wear here, what to wear to the video interview, what to wear to the face-to-face. They over and over again say clean, pressed, professional. Clean, pressed, professional. So keeping that in mind, clean, pressed, ironed, and professional. All right. That's what we always want to be wearing when Delta sees us. So wearing something along those lines to the information session, I think is a great idea. Okay. So that's about the information session. If you go to an information session and you want to give me an update about how it was in the comments, I would love that because they haven't started yet. So I haven't heard any feedback. Now let's talk about the application and the hiring process. Okay, so we've talked about some of the new resources Delta's offering. They have a new website, a new web page just for aspiring flight attendants. It's similar information that they had before, but it's much easier to use and a lot more accessible now. So I'll put that link below. Also, we've got the information sessions. I'll put that link below. And then now let's move on to the application. So the application, again, is opening in September. Now, if you're watching this and it is into 2024, the application is going to open and close several times throughout the year because Delta is hiring thousands and thousands of flight attendants still. They still have a goal to hire lots and lots of flight attendants. This is partly due to people taking buyouts or early retirements during COVID. And this is also due to growth. Travel has bounced back. So aviation is growing. New airplanes mean more flight attendants. Okay. So if you're curious about why they're hiring so much, they're hiring because of growth, basically, in a lot of ways. A little bit of attrition, but I have a feeling they've probably caught up since they started hiring in 2021 again. So, we're about 2 years out. They've probably covered everyone who's left. I even know a couple of my clients that have been rehired again that took the buyout from Delta and now they're back again. So they've kind of fixed that up or, made up that difference. And now they're just growing, which is pretty cool and exciting. Let's talk about the application process. Application number 1. You're going to need to apply with a resume. All right. If you are successful and you move to the next step will be a talent assessment or a talent card. This comes usually right away. Usually it comes right away. So when you look at your resume, make sure that it is flight attendant focused, that it is airline ready. Make sure it speaks to safety, customer service, and teamwork in each of your job descriptions. You should have at least one bullet point for each of those main key principles within your resume. Okay. I have other videos on resume. Hopefully new ones are coming soon because things have changed in the last 10 years, right? Am I right? So But those things have not changed. Teamwork, customer service, and safety have not changed in aviation. So make sure that those are in your application. Cover letters, not necessary, but you do need a resume. Okay, so you'll apply. The next thing that will happen is you'll get that talent card or talent assessment. The advice that they give on the website, which I agree with, is take your time so that you can do your best. If you've watched any of my assessment video, or I have an assessment video, make sure that you're not. Delta says take your time. I agree with that. And I don't think they just mean take your time when you sit down. You can take your time getting to it if necessary. So if you apply and it's nighttime, and then they send you the assessment and it's nighttime and it's late and you're tired and you got to wake up early and you're done for the day. Your brain is done for the day. You don't have to do it right then. You could do it tomorrow. You could do it tomorrow during lunch, tomorrow when you get off work, tomorrow when you wake up, when you're feeling better. You do not have to do it instantly. There's a time frame in there that they would like for you to do it by. If the sooner you do it, the sooner you can move to the next stage. That is true. That is the only benefit to doing it fast. They don't give you brownie points for doing it fast. You do get to move to the next stage sooner. So that means you could move through the process more quickly. But our goal is not to be first. Our goal is to stay in the running. So do it when you're feeling ready to do it. Okay, so that's the assessment. And what it's doing is it's looking at your skills. You will get a talent card back in your email that talks about your skills and your skills, like your strengths. And it's always positive, but some people don't move forward. This can be confusing, I know, because the email that you get back has your strengths, and strengths are always good. It's not like your strength is something negative, but it's not quite the strengths that they're looking for right now. So you do want to be really authentic and true to yourself, keeping in mind that what the job is that you're applying for. So, we have different strengths that we use at different times. I have different strengths I use as a business owner versus a flight attendant versus a mother versus a wife, all different strengths that I'm using. So I would be wanting to tune into my flight attendant strengths, my flight attendant personality when I'm doing the assessment. Okay. Next is the virtual job tryout. So this was new. This is a newer one. It's been around, I don't know, maybe a year now. So virtual job tryout is the next step. This is another it kind of feels like an assessment. So no one's on the other side. You're doing it on your own. But what this is giving you different situations that you may or may not face that you would more than likely face as a flight attendant. So people needing things, people asking for things, captain asking for things, people being upset about things, problems that you maybe encounter, people with children, with babies, people with medications, different things that you may encounter as a flight attendant. I plan to do a much fuller video about this. It's not up yet, but maybe check the description below because I'll add it in. I'll go back and edit the description once it's done. But a couple of things you need to know is, again, make sure you take your time and that you're fully able to listen. So there's a place where you listen, there's a place where you read, and you might want to take notes on what some people want, what some people feel like, what some of the problems you have, some of the problems that people have. You might want to jot down notes. And then another thing is thinking about it from the aspect of being on the aircraft. Okay. So being on an airplane limits your resources, limits your space. And so make sure that you ask yourself, what would I do in this situation if I was on an airplane? Some people I've talked to that haven't been successful, as we've talked through some of the different scenarios, when I start to frame it like you're on an airplane, they're sitting next to a stranger, what would we do? It becomes a little bit clearer as to why they would have maybe chosen something different than they originally chose. So think about it on the airplane too. All right. So that's the virtual job tryout. Next is the on-demand interview. So this is a pre-recorded video interview. So you will, again, there's not another person on the other end. Delta no longer does the live video interview or the in-person video interview. So they dropped that when they added the virtual job tryout and this on-demand interview. So this is a traditional video interview on demand. So that means whenever you would like to do it, you can do it, which is great because you don't have to schedule time. I think part of the reason they switched to this is because they got really backlogged trying to get people scheduled for that live video interview. And it was taking like 6 weeks and people were getting emails like, thank you for waiting. We're working, we're trying. So they kind of swapped for this virtual job tryout and on-demand video interview, which makes things move a little bit more smoothly. So again, things that you can expect are video interview questions about Delta. Things like, why do you want to work for Delta? I would be ready with a couple star format questions, things like that. But make sure your lighting is good. Again, how are we going to dress? Clean, pressed, and professional, because that's what they say, right? They'll probably only see you kind of like what you're seeing of me right now, kind of like armpit, like mid chest up. So you don't have to be fully dressed if you don't need to be. Some people like to go ahead and put on their full outfit because it really helps them like embody what they're doing, but not necessary. Okay. Now, next. In-person event day. So this is the face-to-face. The in-person event day comes after the video interview. And if you are invited to this, Delta will fly you to Atlanta, which is where their headquarters is. And it is a long 4 to 5 hour interview. Spectacular. I don't know. It's multi-layered, multifaceted. We already talked a little bit about the mix and mingle. That's definitely part of it. That happens several times. You'll also have a face-to-face. You'll also have a group interview. There's a lot of different things that happen. What you wear. Again, what are we going to wear? Clean, pressed, professional. Also, they say on their website to use their flight attendant interview for inspiration, which I love. That's advice I give too. Some people don't love that advice. So I like the fact that Delta and I see eye to eye on this. So use their uniform for inspiration, but do not wear a Delta uniform if you're an internal candidate, and don't wear your uniform if you work for another airline either. Okay. So you want to wear either a suit. There's guidelines, criteria on the website, but it tells you wear a suit or a dress with a jacket. Your dress should be from like mid knee to mid calf. So not too long, not too short. And they recommend darker colors. Now, this is something that I think is interesting because I feel like this recommendation for darker colors is for people who are struggling and they don't really know what they should be wearing, because I know lots of people wear a pop of color or wear a little bit of color to the Delta interview and are successful. So the dark colors don't feel, to me, personal opinion, based on observation, don't feel as important as clean, pressed, and professional. So if you have clean, pressed, and professional and you have like a light blue jacket that you love, yes, wear. Yes, you feel confident, go for it. Don't necessarily have to wear the dark because it's recommended. That recommendation feels to me, based on observation, again, my opinion, that it's good for people who are really struggling as to what should I wear. Like, should I wear a pop of color? Should I try to stand out? We're not trying to stand out. We're trying to be clean, pressed, and professional. And we're trying to wear clothes that make you feel confident so that you can perform confidently, interview confidently without worrying about what you're wearing. Okay. So that's what we should wear. Also, cover your tattoos. Okay. Delta doesn't allow tattoos yet. I don't know if they ever will, but they still do not currently allow tattoos, whereas some of the other airlines do now, but Delta does not. Now, cover your tattoos and make sure that they will always stay covered no matter what you're doing. So if you have a wrist tattoo and you're going to need to do the reach test, you want to put your hand up and make sure that shirt doesn't slide down and uncover your tattoo, okay? Or lifting up, if you have like, I don't know, a thigh tattoo and you're wearing like sheer tights, pantyhose, and you're going to lift up and your skirt's going to come up. Or if you are going to take your shoes off to do the reach test and you have like a toe tattoo or something like that, you just want to think about it, because I believe you are asked to take your shoes off for the reach test. And I imagine that they are looking to see. So, completely opaque tights in that case, or a shirt that will not slip down, that has enough, maybe it has like elastic here and some blousing or something, so that when you reach up, it doesn't come down. But those kinds of things are really important, because if they peep a tattoo, it's almost definitely going to be a no thank you this time from them. Okay. So they are really, really no tattoos. Okay. So keep them covered. Now, after your face-to-face day, you will receive your job offer, your CJO, conditional job offer. The job offer is conditional because you need to pass the background check and pass training. All right. So exciting. Such an exciting day, right? So exciting. They do give out job offers day of at the event. So hopefully you'll walk away with your job offer. So exciting. Something that after that is training. So something else that has changed in the last several months, and I don't think that it's been really announced, but I've noticed it just talking with my coaching clients that and then I found the information. It's like a small little note in the website. So I feel comfortable kind of sharing it. I don't know, maybe you already know this, but they're giving out base assignments before training. So you used to get your base assignment during training. You would get assigned your base during training, and then you'd have the rest of training to kind of try to get your ducks in a row and get relocated to that place. Now they are giving out your base assignment before, about 2 weeks before you begin training. You will be able to request the base that you would like to be based at, and then you would be given your base assignment based on company need. Okay, so this, I believe that this is to help prevent attrition during training for people who maybe get really scared and freaked out if they get based somewhere that they weren't prepared to be based, and maybe they would leave training. That's why I'm thinking that they're maybe putting it out in front. Also, it's very helpful to you if you have an extra 2 weeks to kind of start preparing outside of training, because training is a lot. You don't have a lot of free time to do house hunters, So you have a lot going on during training. It's 7 weeks long. Delta's is 7 weeks long in Atlanta. So getting your base assignment a few weeks before training starts really is such a gift, because you can start to kind of get your ducks in a row. All right. So that's something else that has changed as far as training goes. That's everything that I have for you today. That's all my notes. All of those cool resources and websites from Delta are going to be linked below in the description. Get your resume ready. I've got a couple other videos about Delta that kind of go more in depth about the face-to-face and about some of the other things that you may encounter as you move through the process, as well as a video that goes over a lot of the Delta culture and core values, things like that. So I'd love for you to check them out. Otherwise, I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait to see where your wings take you. Talk to you later. Bye.